this set up. Hello to anyone who's waiting. Let me just see if I can access the chat. So, how's everyone doing this morning? Hi, Benjamin. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's 11:30 Sunday morning here. It's pretty windy outside, but otherwise fine. Alright, so nice. Hope I'm not keeping you up, but should be a fun time if we can get lots of people in the chat. And yeah, so I'm going to be building General Grievous, well, at least making a start. And I've chosen this kit basically because there isn't a lot of painting or airbrushing needed. I'm just going to build them up and then do a bit of weathering at the end. And I'll be painting the innards, just brush painting those, and then see how the rest goes. Okay, so, and feel free to ask me any questions about anything really. This is a good opportunity for us to do a bit of a Q&A session. Okay. Well, thank you, Patrick. Hello, Space Stock Modelling. How's it going today? Alright, so we've got sprue number letter A. So I need to start building the head. And the eyes. That's so awesome how they've moulded in there. Alright, so get the heads together. 14 and 15. Do let me know if there's any visual or audio issues. Now, I bought this kit from eBay. There's loads of different sellers on eBay who do all the Bandai kits. Are the individual organs for the little green in the green organ bag? Yes. So there's the clear part, and the organs are here. So I'll paint this up separately. Okay, so we've got the head. Always a bit nervous about doing this live because I'm prone to making mistakes. But I think that pretty much just goes together like that. Right, so that's half of the head done. Stream quality kind of sucks. What's my bit rate? I'm not sure. Let me have a look. Okay, we just get rid of those. Hello, free Lunchables. You made it. Evening totally scale models. Not sure what my bitrate is. I can't actually see. I'm just using this, recording this through my phone. Stream's fine on my end, says MineRec, so it might be just a local thing, I'm not sure. I wish there was a way I could check. Hi Will. Quality is fine on my end, says Charlotte. That's, okay, so looks like it's working for some people, which we'll have to do, I'm afraid. Okay, sprue B. Beware the neck pipe thingies. Yes, I'm looking forward to those. Definitely. B16. No, the eyes. Yep, this is totally live, unedited, unscripted, unfiltered. I've got R2-D2, I don't have R5. But yeah, planning to do him at some point. Can you put the live on your channel? I'm not quite sure what you mean there, sorry. And hello from Belgium. Very late. Yes, I can imagine it is late. The trouble with being in New Zealand is that I've got American time zones and European time zones to think about, and they don't line up very well, so us being 12, 13 hours ahead of GMT, it's always a bit difficult coordinating. I'm looking forward to the Han and Luke Stormy releases. Maybe, I'm not sure yet. We'll see how the reviews pan out. Just need to put these eyes in A19. Where is it? Now these are Tamiya, I forget the specific name, sharp pointed. Why General Grievous? I kind of explained at the start, I'm doing this model just because it's just a fairly straight build. I'm not going to do any airbrushing or anything, so this is just a nice little kit to put together live that doesn't involve a lot of fiddling about. So yeah, basically. And who doesn't like General Grievous? He's awesome. So here's the eyes. Awesome. And those plug into there. No, gotta clean this up a bit. I think that's, yeah. Cool, so it looks like we've got a wide range of geographies represented here. A few from Europe, a few from North America, and my fellow Kiwis. It depends, painting on the sprue or after it's built. Sometimes it depends, I vary it depending on the part. For example, I painted all the figures from the Millennium Falcon on the sprue, but obviously there was parts of that I painted after putting it together, so it depends on the situation really. I don't really have one, stick to one way or the other. Yeah, it's a shame the movies didn't do more on General Grievous, but the Clone Wars cartoon series did, in the animated series. Did quite a bit with him, so we had that at least. And I believe it was the same voice. The same guy who did the voice in the Clone Wars. As in episode 3. What trilogy do I prefer? Well, that's a tricky one. The eyes have just fallen out. I mean, I've never been shy of admitting that I do like the prequels. Basically, just from a visual spectacle standpoint. I mean, I do recognise that they're not the best made movies in the world, but I enjoy watching them. And I've always loved the trilogy. The original trilogy. Right, so getting there with the face, and now I need to put on the little mouth grill. So I'm just going to cut this out with these fine precision scissors. The best part of the prequels was the clones by far. I mean, at least they were successful in their mission, unlike the Jedi. Right. Right, so sprue the earpieces. I mean, can you imagine the clones on Endor versus the Stormtroopers? 3D printing. Yes. I have a here we go. I have done a little bit of 3D printing. Not much. Struggle to find things to print sometimes. So we need D1, 5 and 4. There we go. Do I have any collectible figures? Kinda. I've got the SH Figure Arts Padme and a load of Doctor Who figures, if that counts. That's interesting. Thanks for that. Oh, I think my mouthpiece is probably ready by now. Just my tweezers. This is where I need 3 hands. Am I going to do any more scratch building? I hope to someday. Very bad. It's telling me I've got a very bad connection, so this is over Wi-Fi. So I don't think there's much I can do about it. Just you just have to bear with me. My internet's reasonably good. Sometimes it might just have a bit of a moment. Hello from France. Hello, France. Must be pretty late there. So glad you can join me. There we go. So those are on. I'll stick a bit of microsol setting solution on that in a little bit. ended up not using any decals on my Grievous. I mean, that's perfectly fine. Sometimes I don't use the decals, like on the Millennium Falcon I'm not using a lot of the decals. But I'm just going to build this Grievous just as straightforward as possible. Right, so which ear does this go on? That one. Yeah, where's my other one? There he is. So yeah, I've got a lot of plans from future kits, scratch builds, more Bandai stuff. I love the Falcon builds. Thank you. I love, well, certainly love making it. It's yeah, move that. Certainly an enjoyable kit to build. So I'm glad people are enjoying them. Should probably let this sit before I start fiddling around with it. D12. Get the old Microsoft. And a brush. See, where was I? Lots of plans for the future, but as I've mentioned a couple of videos ago, I'm going through a bit of a transition at the moment, looking for a new job, and so I'm going to be moving soon. So my whole setup's going to change, and there might be a brief period where I won't be building any models, just as I go from one house to another. So I still plan to make videos, but I just won't be doing any major builds in that time. So we'll see what happens. So at the moment I'm mainly focused on getting the Falcon done for my client, who is extremely patient waiting for that to be done. And yeah, I'm not quite sure what I'll be doing after that. Okay, so D12. But overall I'm quite pleased with how the channel's going at the moment. Getting some really good feedback off you guys. And yeah, so it's exceeded my expectations by far. Rewire, not quite sure what you mean there, or what that's referring to. Right, so which way does this go? That way up. G'day Australia, how's it going over there? Hopefully a bit better weather than what we've been having here. Careful not to break the part, it says. I think that's understandable. Yeah, I mean, I've not done any painting yet, and already it's looking way more detailed than a lot of kits. So you just got to love Bandai. And I have noticed that there are parts. Some of these parts moulded on the sprue have already got joins in them, which just blows my mind. I don't know how many other kits have this sort of technology, but that's just amazing to me. But that part goes in front of the mouth. Oh yeah, you might be right actually. This bit here. There we go. Is that better? Yes. Not sure if that pushes up any further. Oh, well, the good thing with these Bandai kits is that because you don't glue them, they're easily fixable later on. Like I don't have to worry about it just yet. Yes, Charles. I have planned for a while to do a video on what sort of tools and equipment I use. It's just a matter of getting around to it. Yeah, I have heard some pretty good things about the Gundam kits. I've just never really watched or been into that sort of thing personally. So those kits have kind of always gone over my head a bit. But from what I have seen, they do look pretty cool. Okay, so now I need the ears, flap thingies. Well, thanks, Charles. That's good to know. I mean, the thing that I love most about doing this is just helping and inspiring people. I mean, it's basically how I got into this whole YouTube thing. When I got back into the hobby, like seriously, it took me a few months of building before I. Well, while I was building, I was watching a lot of YouTube channels and a lot of YouTubers, getting inspired by their builds. And so I thought I would return the favour and start sharing it myself. So I'm really happy that people have responded and actually getting something out of it. Yeah, the Battle Droids, I've really wanted to get one of those, and the one with the step, and the Geonosis pack. But I don't see them for sale a lot on eBay and stuff, so I'll have to keep my eye out for those kits. And they're not the cheapest of kits either, compared to some of the other figures, so it's always put me off a little bit. Alright, so I think that's the head mostly done. On to page 2. Page 4 even. Now the innards. Right. Put the head here so people can see I've done it. Now yeah, the half scale BB-8. That does look like an interesting kit. Right, that's cool, Mindrick. Thanks for joining us. Oh yeah, Imperial Royal Guard. Just anything more really from Bandai would be nice. A 1/6 or 1/6 scale clone is definitely on the top of my wish list. Some of the other bounty hunters like IG-88. Even Jango Fett would be nice. Eternities. Right, let's start with some painting. Get my trusty yep, Snow Trooper, even just the 80 driver would be awesome. Right, so we're going for deep red, pinks, greens. Oh, I see. Right. Yeah, those battle droids aren't cheap, unfortunately. paint this straight on. Not going to bother with primer or anything, since this is going to be behind covered plastic. I really wish Bandai would do some of the bigger ships, capital ships like Star Destroyer or some of the Rebel ships, and not just the tiny ones that they've done, the actual proper big ones. Like, I mean, they've done all the Space Battleship Yamato ships on a bigger scale. It'd be nice to see some of the bigger Star Wars ships like that in that scale. Good night, thanks for joining us. So who's excited for Solo, a Star Wars story? Yeah, I have seen that really tiny Star Destroyer, but you know, you kind of want something just a bit bigger. Okay, hairdryer incoming. Just need to dry this paint off a bit. What's next? Oh, D21. So have we got part of the innards? Oh no, that's part of his armour. So this clips onto the back. I announced this live stream on my community tab on my channel, but I'm not actually sure how many people see that thing. It's a bit of a new feature. I'm still kind of experimenting with it. To be honest, I didn't announce this to too many people because this is my first live stream, and in case anything went terribly wrong, I didn't want too many witnesses. So it's kind of a just an in the know kind of thing. But I'll be announcing more live streams probably across my Instagram and Facebook as well next time. So as long as you're following those, you should be able to see it. That's that for that. 14. Oh yeah, some of the clone vehicles would be pretty cool. The turbo tank and all the different walkers. D18. So yeah, I probably will go see Solo. I've not been looking forward to it too much, basically just because I'm kind of starting to feel a bit burned out on all these Star Wars movies. I mean, I'll go and see them, but I don't know, they just don't feel as special as they used to. Now that we know there's going to be one every year. But yeah, as someone said, I'm looking forward to seeing some of the new designs, some of the new ships, especially the new Falcon. But I'm not so sure about the actors, but we'll see. Happy to be proven wrong. E2. I'm going to paint a bit more of this red, white. Yeah, that's a good point. It does. Some of these movies do feel a bit Marvel-ish, and especially the marketing and the merchandising. Hopefully, it's just for marketing, and the movie itself will feel a bit different. They rob a train, really? Space train. Nice pink lungs. Yeah, the Arc 170 is pretty cool. I remember desperately trying to get that vehicle in Star Wars Galaxies when I played that back in the day. What's my favourite though? Maybe the turbo tank or the Venator Star Destroyer. If that counts. So we've got sickly green for the bottom bits. This is a nice bright green. Some really nice colours in the Game Air range. For figure painting anyway. I'll put a bit more yellow in there. There we go. Starting to feel a bit like Bob Ross. Alright. Really would like to get more into figure painting. Not just like people, but beasts like dragons and orcs and things like that. I mean, loads of people ask me if I'm ever thought about doing Warhammer. I mean, I'd love to do some of those figures, but they're just so bloody expensive. If I can find like a cheap alternative, then I probably would be all for it. yeah, Mother of Dragons in Star Wars. She should meet up with Captain Phasma. Oh yeah, happy little lungs. I don't make mistakes, I just have happy little accidents. Oops. Right, so I just need to wait for that to dry. Now I need some joining bits. E2, E1, where's E2? Oh, this tiny thing. Yeah, compared to some of the other Bandai figures, this is there's not much joining, rubbery bits. So, how long will the stream last? Well, until I either run out of viewers or I get to a point where I need to sort of pause the build a bit. Maybe another half an hour to an hour. We'll see how it goes. It is 12:10 Sunday afternoon in good old New Zealand. So as I was saying before, it's hard for me to coordinate times across all my different where most of my viewers are from the US, and then the second most popular places are in Europe, so it's kind of hard to combine those into a user-friendly time zone, especially for me being so far ahead of everyone else. Sherman Tamiya. What sort of Sherman is it? Those are always fun kits to build. A23. Favorite type of droid? Oh, cool, yeah, the Fury. A3, wait, M4, A3, E8, EZ8. Favourite type of droid? It's a good one. I do like the protocol droids. HK-47 from the Old Republic. He was pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know, I've not really thought about that before. Actually, one of the droids in the Jawas Sandcrawler at the start of A New Hope, the one that was just gibbering to himself. I love that guy, especially the noises he made. He had that sort of really pointy face. For the Falcon, no, I didn't really consider doing my own lighting, mainly because it's a commission build and the client just specified he wanted the just the kit lighting and everything else as far as the kit goes, so I didn't really branch out because that would have increased the cost and the time, since I haven't really done any lighting of my own yet. I still have that area to branch out into, so maybe one day. One-Line Dragon Superhero. Not sure what that is. It sounds awesome though. Wait a minute, I think I need to paint the back of that as well. Wonder if I could start doing the legs while I'm waiting for that to dry. Yeah, that's true. As I build more and more of the Falcon, it is becoming something that's going to be harder to let go of. It is turning out to be an awesome kit, and not quite as big as I thought it would be. Yeah, just in the overall size of it. But still, it's going to be hard to let go. But you know, I haven't paid for it, so it has to go. Actually, I'm just going to blast this with the hairdryer a bit more, just off camera. Just wanted to get it to a point where I can just handle it without wiping off any paint. So I'm going to go all the way around here. I actually noticed that during Christmas there's a lot of shops that sell one of those Christmas LEDs that have always got their own circuits. So, you know, in theory you could just get one of those and just shove it inside a model, and that would be a lighting kit. A nice cheap way to do it. As long as you don't mind red and white and green flashing lights. Hello Larry, how are you today? Okay, I think I'm really going to have to put this aside and just wait for it to dry and work on that a bit more. So I'm just going to move on to get paint all over my instructions. Good one. Legs, right. D2. Thirty. No, well sometimes I do use primer, sometimes I don't. Just depends on what I'm doing. I'll put more layers of paint on those parts there to make them look a bit more solid. But since that part isn't going to be handled or exposed because it's going to be behind its clear shield, then I don't think it needs much primer to protect the paint, or to make the paint stick to the plastic anyway. D234. Basically, I always try and do as little work as possible, and that's not just because I'm lazy, because mostly I am, but just because it saves time and paint. So if you can get away with something, then and it still works, then by all means go for it. Where's 29? D2. Hello, Oregon. Yeah, I have seen a lot of Boyd's work at Trickworks. He does some pretty amazing builds with his starships. And I mean, like, really amazing. He's he certainly knows his stuff. It certainly is. I'd be quite interested to know how much sort of he charges for his builds, because I know he does quite a lot of commissions. Favourite hero and villain? Well, villain has to be Palpatine. I mean, who doesn't love Palpatine? Hero. Hero. I did really like Rey in Force Awakens. Vader. I mean, yeah, I love Vader, but he's kind of a hero and a villain, I suppose. He goes from hero to villain, and then back to hero. But yeah, Anakin. Qui-Gon. I've always been a big fan of Qui-Gon. It's a shame we didn't get to see more of him. And Lando is probably my favourite non-Jedi. Is that the right? Ah, that way. It was nice that we got Liam Neeson back for the Clone Wars, even though it's just his voice. Darth Jar Jar, yeah, definitely. Yep, it's all on Netflix here, so I've watched through the whole thing. I didn't really watch it when it was on TV because it was kind of hard to find on the channels that we have. It was usually always on the Disney Channel, which I didn't have. Not Disney. Was it Disney or one of the other cartoon channels? Anyway, I've recently watched through all of the Clone Wars, so I've seen it all at least. Well, we need a lot of movies, really. But Han Solo movie wasn't on the top of my wish list. But I suppose we get what we're given, don't we? Some plastic in my finger clips there. Or what about Count Dooku movie with his apprentice Qui-Gon? Props? Yeah, I've kind of been interested in props. I was really into making Star Trek props back in the 90s. And for little bits and pieces. And all the toys you could get. D240. I really like the Solo Falcon, or the look of it anyway. I've always wanted to see different variations of that freighter. Oh yeah, lightsaber props. I've got a Anakin lightsaber from Episode 3, so one of the light up ones, and a sword from Lord of the Rings. But those are stuff you just buy, you don't really make. Now is that right? No. Yes. It doesn't, it's a join, but it doesn't move, so that's a bit strange. Oh, it does move. Ugh, stupid. Just very stiff, that joint. D241. Do I collect any other Star Wars figures? Not really. I used to be a big figure collector before I got into modelling, but you can only really have so much room for all that stuff, so I kind of phased out the figures and collectibles and went more towards modelling. Thanks, Armando. I certainly will. As long as people keep watching, I'll keep making them. At least that's the plan. Isle of Dogs. I've been to the Isle of Dogs. Looks quite a really interesting joint there. D246. I think I have heard of that movie, but I'm not quite sure what it's about. C19, right. C1 bag. C18. So both of those go either side. I've seen a lot of people do 3D printed lightsabers, and depending on the finish you can get from your printer, they look pretty cool. Oh, Jeff Goldblum, yes. Oh, that does sound interesting. Well, I have to check it out. So this is a knee, I think. T236. Ah, cool. It's always nice to have access to 3D printers. I actually do have a really basic 3D printer. I printed out a few things, but not really had much opportunity to use it. I'd quite like to design my own parts to print, but that's a whole another level of complexity. Actually, I need to clean this up a bit more. Yes, money's always an issue. Oh, well, in that case, probably not so awesome then. By the way, I'll just show you. Finished the gun turrets on Falcon last night. So they sit that way. You can see the seat in there. Get a view through the from their perspective. Well, that was quite fun. It's a pity there isn't any lighting in those turret bays, but I suppose you could add it yourself if you were that way inclined. C1 12. Cool, so we've got over 41 viewers by the looks of it. So I hope everyone's having a good day. I hope the stream's coming through alright. Let me know if there's any audio or visual issues. It's supposed to be there. This little bit here, I'm not entirely sure if that's supposed to be there or not. Yeah, wait, focus. Oh well, we'll stick it on with it on, and then if it gets in the way, we'll take it off. It's kind of hard to see from the instructions whether it's supposed to be there or not. Right. Oh yeah, those line up, so I think it is supposed to be there. Back to D2. D5. Yeah, 42. My favourite part about building models, definitely weathering and painting. And out of those two, probably weathering. So that's why I like to build figures and armour, and not so much things like aircraft and cars. I mean, aircraft do have a bit of weathering, but it tends to be a bit more precise and refined. And I wouldn't use those two words to describe my models necessarily. With tanks especially, you can get away with a lot more roughness. It's definitely something I want to improve on and refine my skills with aircraft and vehicles and stuff. I mean, I did do that Honda bike a year ago, and that came out pretty nice. So yeah, weathering's always fun because it gives you a lot of creative freedom, because you don't necessarily have to follow any specific instructions. So it's more of an art form, making something look used and real as opposed to just shiny plastic. And by far the most common question I get asked in all my comments is what sort of setup I have, what sort of airbrush I use, what sort of paints do I use. So I'm definitely planning to do some sort of video or guide on basically what I use. And a lot of it is down to just ease of access. Like these paints, these Vallejo paints, I pretty much just use these because they're acrylic and they're just available in great numbers in my local hobby shop. I mean, if they didn't have Vallejo, then I'd be forced to use something else. So that's one of the reasons, well, the main reason I use that particular paint. It's not just because I think it's the best sort of paint or anything. Okay, that clips into there. Yeah, I'm not sure about Hobby Lobby. We don't have that particular store here, unfortunately, so can't really say. And this Grievous is really interesting because he's not like a normal human. It's really hard to tell what parts are what, and some of these joins are quite fascinating. D117. Do I like how model paint smells? Well, not enamels, which is why I don't really use enamels, because they really stink the place out and they're a bit more difficult to clean up. Well, I don't think any sort of acrylic paint is better than anything else. It's just that's why I like these particular bottles, is because you can drip, you can put drops in. It's really good for mixing. Unlike with Tamiya paints where you've got to extract the paint yourself. So anything that makes my life a bit easier, I always go for. I mean, if you like the smell of enamels, then that's great. They definitely have a particular smell. It really does evoke memories of my childhood, because we used to always paint models with enamels. And so as soon as I smell like a Humbrol can of Humbrol paint, it brings back all those memories. Stick it, so we've got number 4. So there's a silver strip that goes around this part here, so I might just paint that on. Any sort of paint works in an airbrush, as long as it's thin enough to go through the nozzle. You can put house paint in an airbrush if you wanted. Well, I'll clean this up a bit when it's dried. I'm kind of doing things a bit freestyle for this live stream. Airbrushed house paint, nice. I mean, yeah, whatever works. It's basically, as long as you get a result, then it's fine. I mean, I do use some Tamiya. Like, I do prefer the Tamiya clear colours. Right, so I just need to let that dry. D116, yeah, it's another one. Although unfortunately my airbrush is on the way out, I think. It's I'll just give you an example. If I turn it on, you can just hear it ticking over a little bit. And it keeps going, it keeps going. It takes a while for it to stop, so it doesn't usually, well, it's not supposed to do that. So I think just the some of the innards are rusting up a bit maybe. But luckily it was just a, yeah, it's got a good motor on it. I mean, as I've mentioned in numerous comments, I mean, it was basically just the cheapest airbrush I could find online when I first started getting into this, because I didn't want to spend too much money in case I didn't enjoy it. And I've stuck with it ever since, so it's lasted me a good solid 3 years. It's had a productive life, so I think I've got my money's worth out of it. So when I get the next one, it'll probably be something a bit more fancy. Now that I know that I'll be doing this long term at least. And it's quite eye-opening to go back to some of the studio models that you see in movies, like where is it? I've got doing research for the Falcon. I printed out some studio models, that photos of the studio model. You can just see how rough it is. It's quite fascinating. This is from the Empire Strikes Back version. I mean, they weren't super careful or precise with anything really. I mean, I know the Falcon is supposed to look bashed up, but even looking at photos of the studio models from Star Trek, you could see peeling stickers and fingerprints and really rough edges. So it's good to know even the major players, their models didn't always look 100% perfect. You know, they made them look perfect on screen, but the actual model itself was always a bit rough. I think I've been doing this this one leg for about half an hour, still not done with it yet. It's definitely a lot going on here. Okay, so that goes in there. And the foot. So for the foot, 38. His talons. Requires almost no cleaning. That sounds good. Well, thanks, Prop Rocks. It's probably not the most eventful live stream, but basically I just wanted an excuse just to have a chat with some of my viewers. Chance for you to ask me some questions and get to know you a bit better. I mean, for some of you who make these videos, I'm sure you know that a lot of editing goes into building. Once you've made a build and recorded it, there's a lot of stuff you have to cut out, a lot of boring stuff. So the fact that it's all in this video is kind of new to me, so hopefully it's not been too dull. D228. And with my, as I said before, with my transition coming up in house at least, and I'm not sure when I'll be able to do another one of these. So this might be the only one for a while, but thought I'd get one out before I had to move everything. Oh, that was a nice click. Thanks, yeah, it's I do take quite a bit of time and effort into making the videos as watchable as possible, so it's always nice to know that people appreciate that. Okay, so that's standing. Now I just need to attach these bits and Hopefully the silver's a little bit dry, so I can... Because this is acrylic straight on plastic, then it should be relatively easy to clean off. We've gone over the edges. If it wants to focus. I'll do. Right, so that one was this side. And everything just fits together so well. Oh, come on, Will. They're better than that. I mean, you're doing your own lighting stuff. It's always interesting to watch. Yep, editing always takes a bit of time. Be nice to have a editing assistant if I had the money. Right. Ooh, got one leg finished. Progress. Okay, so let's take a look at these organs. I think that's ready for another pass. Oh yeah, the good old bloopers vid. I started trying doing a few outtakes at the end of one of my videos, but I haven't really done much since then. Most of the time it's just me swearing and then stopping recording, so it's not that, not that interesting. Just carry that all the way up. Oops. Now, choice words. Well, that's a Kiwiism, if ever I heard one. Thanks. Fun for all the family. That's what I try to do. Although, according to my statistics, most of my viewers are in the 30, 40, 50s range. Yep, I'll be doing a wash on these, bring out some of this detail. Also might do a transparent layer over the top, and then some gloss clear to make them all wet and sticky. Yeah, I know Ian did a gloss layer at least. I can't remember what sort of colours he used. Looked old. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember what they did look like in the movie. Oh yeah, YouTube. Even the internet back in the 90s would have been a huge help. But somehow we managed. Magazines and books and reference photos, and there's always that dilemma of how a certain model ship would look a certain colour on screen and then completely different colour on the actual studio model, especially a lot of the Star Trek ships. So it was always a choice of, do you paint it to look like the studio model or how it looked on camera? It's always a tough decision to make. Right, so these organs are probably going to take a little bit longer than anticipated, so I'll just start on another leg, I think. Or actually, I might do... let's do one of the arms, do something a bit different. So, sprue B. C. B5. Let's put you aside. Mace Windu isn't dead. What are you talking about? So here's another part with pre-moulded joints. I'd love to see how this works in the actual mould. Yeah, but we didn't see his dead body, did we? So, in movie lore, he's never really dead. He might have landed on one of those cars that flew by underneath. Well, Darth Vader could use the Force and he had no legs, no arms, mechanical lungs. Right, which way does that go? Oh man, this is interesting. Is this right? Doesn't look right, but it feels right. Oh, that okay. I get it. So when that bends, that other top piece slides into that slot. Once I get the other side on, B1. I mean, if you read all the books and play the games and watch Rebels, there's quite a few Jedi that survived the Purge. There you go, look at that. Mechanical action. That's awesome. As long as that doesn't keep popping off. Right. C1. Wait a minute. Oh, there you go. Yep, well, I certainly do. I mean, it's great building these Bandai kits, but whenever I go back to a more traditional model, it just feels like I've gone back to the Dark Ages. Just get spoiled with this sort of engineering. I mean, this sort of technology could easily be applied to aircraft and armour and more traditional kits. I guess it must just be an expense thing. When you can get away with pumping out old moulds from the 70s, like Tamiya does, then I suppose they're going to keep doing it. Oh yeah, gotta love the click. I mean, I remember Zoids. I used to get those back in the late 80s, early 90s. Matchbox. I don't think I probably only built one or two of those back in the day. Death Stinger and Iron Kong. Will do. Might just cut off the wrong part there. C1. Yeah, I did. Ugh. That's what you get for not paying attention. Oh, it's this one I need. Oh, really? I didn't notice. It probably looks like I'm really unsafe, but I don't often cut myself. So, don't worry. Right. Actually, that needs... See, I loved that Darth Vader line. A lot of people didn't like it, but I thought it was in character. Vader's always been a bit sarcastic. Apologies accepted, Captain Neda. Yeah, super glue your finger back together. Sounds good to me. It's looking pretty good. Surprised they don't use duct tape as well. Put a limb back together. Which Bandai kits would I like to see released? Well, definitely the top of my wish list is a 1/6 scale clone trooper. And the customization options for those would be just limitless. And then actually what I'd really like to see is, might not be the most popular choice, but some of those Nubian ships, like the Royal Yacht and Padme's starships from episode 2 and 3. Just a nice chrome finish would be awesome. C120. A good old Watto. Well, that was my phone telling me something. Should probably put it on silent. There we go. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Shall not happen again, I assure you. Okay, so what do these bits do here? They're not connected to anything. Maybe they just need to be loose. See, Darth Vader quotes, always useful. Right, hand time. C2, 5. Army or not, you must realise you are doomed. Instructions say there will be a gap. That's good to know. There. Hello, Arizona. Okay, so that is the right arm. Yeah, so I think that's that one done. Oh, yeah, of course, and there's the split arm version as well. Forgot about that. Where did I get my cutting tools pads from? Do you mean these things? I basically get all of my tools from my local hobby shop, which is called acornmodels.co.nz, and they're just about a 5 minutes drive away. One of the biggest model shops in New Zealand, fortunately for me. So they have pretty much everything that I need, apart from obviously all the Bandai stuff which I have to import. Right. So back to the organs. I'm going to paint. Pink, a bit more pink, I think. Oh really? I didn't know they were a national organisation. They've been in Christchurch for as long as I can remember. Does Grievous even eat? That's the question. Wow, did not know that. I've always been a big player in Christchurch. So I'm always happy to support them with buying kits and that, even though sometimes I can get them cheaper online. It's always nice to give them a bit of custom. Because without them I'd be pretty stuffed when it comes to paints. Oh yeah, I love curries, as long as they're nice and hot. Always been a big fan of hot stuff, hence the name. Although I do think chili has a slightly different connotation in the US than it does here. I mean, to me it's just the vegetable. Oh yeah, I used to live in the UK, so Indian food's pretty big over there. Indian, Bangladeshi, Pakistan, curries, they're awesome. Chile, the country? Yeah, I say Chile, even though it's probably not the correct Spanish way to say it. I mean, I have been there. I've been to Easter Island and Santiago. For a few days. Chile, if you want to be proper. Okay, so I think that's most of the organs. I might just do a bit of a brighter red for his heart. Where are we? Red. I live in Christchurch, which is the main city of the South Island. Lived in Wellington for a little bit while I was studying. That was awesome. I love Wellington. And I was there for the Return of the King premiere. So I got to see all the stars driving down the road on their procession. Peter Jackson and all those people. I live in Christchurch too. Cantabrian, that's what we're called. Peter Jackson's private plane, huh? US premiere, huh? Nice. Yeah, I didn't actually go to the premiere, I just, because I was actually working in McDonald's, funnily enough. And I just watched them all go past the window. I mean, the shop was empty, because everyone was outside to watch it, but I just had to watch there from behind the window with a sad face. Or happy face that I got to see them. Elijah Wood and all the other hobbits and I really wanted to see Kate Blanchett, but I don't think she was there. I think she was pregnant or something. Just finishing up these organs. I'll do a bit of pink for the top. There, right. Almost there. And then once all this is dry, then I'll do a bit of a wash and a bit of a coat of what does? A bit of transparent green on the green bits, transparent red on the red bits, just to give it a bit more of a depth of colour. Right, so what's next? Now my instructions are stuck to the paper towel. Let's do another arm because it was pretty quick. Right, left. Where's the left arm? Oh, there. Right in front of me. Right. I always thought the Vader. No, I always thought Darth Vader chose his own suit. I never thought it would be something that the Emperor put him inside of. B9. Like B10. Rice wafers. Well, at least they're healthy. Put some peanut butter on them or something. Vogels and Marmite. Good old Vogels. E2. there's one thing that kind of annoyed me about the Millennium Falcon so far, it's just that there's so many, like when doing the engine deck and things like that, there's just so many different sprues used, 5 or 6 different sprues. It's just a nightmare going back and forth. But I suppose they know what they're doing. I mean, it probably wasn't any other way, but still, it felt a bit arduous at times. Yes, so the split arms are, I can show you. So you got the split arm pieces here, and there's different construction instructions for those. C1. Oh yeah, definitely. Sunday, just relax. No pressure. No pressure, as Bob Ross would say. But Anzac Day must be coming up soon. Another nice day off. Oh yeah, Marmite and Vegemite are way different. Way different. Yep, 25th April, I think it's a Wednesday. A week on Wednesday it must be. I mean, Vegemite and Marmite look the same for sure. No, don't worry about it. I do like Marmites, but I don't have it that often. Yeah, April 15th here, Sunday afternoon, 1:30. I think Marmite is more of a an English thing, really, if anything. C1, oh yeah, I cut that piece out earlier. Here's one I prepared earlier. Oh no, I've made a boo-boo. This piece was initially the right piece. Okay man, it's fine, go to bed. Been nice having you. I just need to tear this apart. So I'm guessing that this was 21. Yeah. So what happened is I inadvertently skipped ahead in the instructions, and for the right shoulder I put on the left shoulder. But as this is a Bandai kit, there's no drama because no glue. You can just pull it apart and fix fix it. Right, so that bit goes. Here. It doesn't really make much difference, but got to do it right. Okay. Now we have the right shoulder piece. Sweet. Thanks for coming, and have a good sleep. Right, C110. Right, nearly done with the right left arm. Attach these forearm guards. Oops. Smash everything up. How's that decal looking? I'll just do another coat of Microsol, and that should be enough for that mouthpiece. Right, so last hand. I'm not sure if anyone in the US has got the license to carry these kits yet. I know they've got the vehicles. But otherwise, eBay. I got this from eBay, just from a Japanese seller. Yeah, I think I heard something about that. They've got because aren't they going to be distributing the Han and Luke Stormtrooper kits? I'm not sure. Okay, so we've got both closed arms. Right, let's move back to the leg. Left leg, D2. Yeah, there's a lot of complex licensing agreements that you have to navigate. I was talking to one of the guys at Acorn, and even like the Revell Star Wars kits are really difficult to get here because the people, I think there's one guy who's got the license to import them and he just can't be bothered, or they're too expensive or something. So it's a bit of a pain in the ass really, getting Star Wars stuff here. T229. Hi Dimitri, I'm good, how are you? Hobbyco going bust, haven't heard about that. Well, it's not so much a markup because I have to import them directly from eBay, so they just come from Japan. So there's not really much of a markup. I guess the only markup you could apply is just the shipping costs. Is it just me or is there something missing from these? No. Always pays to read the instructions properly. So I just thought the left leg was missing a step, but right at the start of the right leg it told you to make 2 of the knee joints, or foot joints I think. D230, 29. So I also hope to be making some more Starship, like Space Battleship Yamato kits, since the 2 that I've got on the channel have been quite popular, so I thought I'd continue making some of those. I've still got to make the 1:1000 scale Yamato sitting there waiting to be built. Yeah, who knows what will happen to their licenses. I guess it just depends who has the interest. I'd love to see some more Bandai Star Trek kits like they did about 10 or 15 years ago. Or the pre-painted ones with lighting. Some of those are really, really expensive to get hold of these days. T231. Yep, these are Tamiya. I forget the exact name. They're either pointed or extra sharp. They've got a really nice point on them, which allows you to get into some really tight places. And I've had these for a couple of years. They're awesome. Quite expensive though. I think these are about 50 New Zealand dollars. But there's probably a bit of an import markup on that. And I have used cheaper ones and they usually go dull quite quickly, so I think it is worth spending a bit more on some quality ones. This is that really difficult seam join, I should say. Something's stopping this from closing up. Hello there, Gabrielle. BSG, that's Battlestar Galactica, right? Unfortunately, that's one of those shows that I never really watched. Okay, let's try this again. There we go, speed up. Now it's closed. Right. C225. Has anyone seen the new Lost in Space yet? Saw a trailer for it. It looked interesting. No Gary Oldman this time. Oh really? How was it? Worth a watch? Cool. I mean, I'll watch it eventually. It's on Netflix. I mean, why not? Just got to get around to it. Dr. Smith is a woman, of course. Well, that's cool. I'm just doing a epic rewatch of Deep Space Nine. Haven't seen it for a few years. Oh yeah, although I couldn't actually say what the backstory of the Jupiter 2 was in the original. Can't really remember. Oops. Oh, sorry, I was just checking the stream. Right, C2, C8. I knew that was going to happen. All my bits dropped into the paint. Yeah. Easy fix. We just don't have a lot of room to work with so much going on. Usually when I'm doing a build, I'll work on a part and then clean everything up, clear the space, and then work on another section, but for the live stream I'm kind of having to do it all at once. Armageddon. Armageddon is like our New Zealand's Comic Con, I suppose. Much smaller version. I've been to one in Christchurch, but I can't even remember who the special guest stars were. I don't think we stuck around for them. Went in, had a quick look, and then walked out again. I really need to go to one of the bigger ones up in the North Island, I suppose. Right, so that's that knee. And D236. Let's do a bit more painting there. T1. Paint these now, so that when I come to use them in a little bit, will be dry. So I think I'm almost out of my Bandai figures. I've got R2-D2, which was left over from that BB-8 that I did a while ago, and K2SO, still got to build him, and then I'm done. Well, thank you, Adam. It's very nice of you to say. I enjoy making these and sharing them with you guys, and so I'm glad they're being helpful, even if you're not making models. It's even better to know that they're just entertaining to watch on their own, without any getting any useful information. And yes, Quark is definitely one of my favourites. Always loved episodes based on him. I mean, his whole family really. Nog and Ron. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do R2, whether or not to just do him just as a clean kit or paint him up as a different astromech droid. I was quite tempted to do the an Imperial version, all black and silver. But I'd also quite like to do the Yoda's Hut version, where it's all just filthy. So many options of those Bandai kits. Yeah, the dome silver is quite flat, so definitely needs a bit of a repaint. Either way. Unless I was doing R4 or something, then it could just be red. Right, so that goes back there. C12, C13. Yeah, metallic blue is a good idea. Any of the metallic colours really. I love using metallic black. I've used that a few times on certain pieces. I'm not sure how many parts of the dome is. I have to go back and check. T35. Yeah, I suppose there would be quite a bit of a seam. Which is funny because I've never really been that bothered about seams on these Bandai kits much before. I mean, there's a few noticeable seams on the Stormtroopers and the Clone Troopers, but I've never really felt like I needed to do anything about it. Oh, that's the, talking about the big constructible R2. Yeah, I have seen that. Looks pretty cool. I've seen we can get the Buildable Delorean in the Batmobile. Not quite the same thing though. Yeah, Bandai usually do a pretty good job of hiding the seams, although when I was building the Falcon cockpit I was a bit disturbed by the huge seam that runs down the side. But I'll show you the photo of the actual studio model. You can see this huge big seam that's actually on the real ship, so at least it's supposed to be there. That goes there. 24 to 24. Pacific Rim kits. No, I don't think I've seen any of those. I've seen some of the collectibles. I'll tell you what I really want to get though is one of the Discovery kits from 2001. Quite expensive though. And quite big. I'm not quite sure where I'd put it. It's about 40 inches long. Oh, Bandai kits. That's interesting. I've still got the Master Chief to build. Quite looking forward to that. That was one of the options for this live stream, but for some reason I thought it might take a bit longer, but maybe not. This is getting quite involved. Right, so that one goes. Yeah. $227. Alright, so what I might do is finish up this leg and then call the stream done. And I'll wait for all of the organ bits to dry and then carry on the stream next time. Well, carry on the build next time, I should say. Been going 2.5 hours now, so need a bit of a break. But thanks to everyone who's joined. It's been quite a nice chat. Enjoyed answering your questions. 228. 66 like, thank you. Execute order 66. Yep, tell me about it, Will. 2.5 hours. Time does fly. Just makes me appreciate how long these builds actually take when you just sit down and do it all at once without having to worry about recording or thinking about different segments. Come on, get in there. Yeah, I can certainly see why there's Some just amazing engineering involved in this thing. It's been really fun to put together so far. Yeah, well, I'll leave the neck joins for the next stream. Alright, so we've done 2 legs, the organs, the head, and the arms. Not quite done yet, but so I just make a mess of everything. Cool. So yeah, thanks for joining, and hope to see you on the next stream. So until then, take care, and I'll see you next time.